So, Hank and Lars, welcome to the Cosmic Awakening Show.
Hey
Thank
guys,
you very
well,
much.
Now let's all talk at once. It's so
Yes.
cool to have both of you on. Hank and I have been communicating back and forth. I found your interviews together, or your what do you call it, guided visualization. I found your videos on YouTube, Hank, and just fell in love with all the information that was coming through. And Hank and I first communicated about a little over a week ago and have been planning this show. And so I'm really glad you could join us as well, Lars.
Yeah, I'm glad also.
So the way this works is N5D has actually published an article with two articles now with some of your YouTubes. And Hank takes Lars through a guided visualization, which puts him into a deep state to be able to connect with his higher self or higher selves in different realms, in different vibrations, different dimensions. And these two have been traveling together for a very, very long time. And you were first connected to each other and knew that there was a connection. And since then, you've been doing this quite frequently and put out many videos to be able to bring information about your relationship together, as well as information to the world about the times that we're living in. So, Hank, how did you find Lars?
you know, I he contacted me via the YouTube channel, and when she says we've been traveling for a long time, in multitudinous expressions of ourself as multidimensional beings doing this type of work is just to clarify, sort of crazy like that. And so he said that he felt like he was really connected with me, and a lot of people have connected with me in that way. And as most people can tell, I call myself paranoid. You know what I'm saying? So I was very weary. And so I went and I looked him up. And then I noticed he was like, I think the president of a gun thing and of a gun club or whatever. And I saw that. Um, and then he had made some comments to someone on there about Americans, and I won't go into all the details or whatever. And I was just like, "Hey, dude, I found this stuff on you," and blah 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 blah. And so there was a. At first, we had to get beyond that, and it didn't take us really long to get beyond that because he was explaining everything, and then it made sense to me. And then I I I don't know. I said, hey, let's do a session together. And I had been searching, literally, I'd been sending out into the universe that I could find a particular person that I would be able to connect with, to be able to have to do these sessions with, to be able to get information from. At first, I found a gentleman. He was the director of the school that I went to. He was literally the director, and we had an amazing session. He's a musician and he didn't really want to be have his face out there. Even when he did a session, he wore it across his face. And when he'd go under, it was like reading a Dolores Cannon book because he'd go, finding information, oh, information found, and then he would be able to say it. But he had two sessions and it freaked him out, all the information that came through, because it was really, they're great sessions. It just says a friend, a dear friend with Hank. That's all. It didn't even put his name on there. And so sometime later, Lars and I connected, and I don't even know. Before you know it, all of a sudden we did a session, and then we did a couple QHHTs, and then we switched to my particular technique because it doesn't take Lars anything. Right now, I can go, Lars, 1, 2, 3, you're under, so to speak, and it takes nothing. So my technique that I've been doing for 20 years. It's just shorter and sweeter. The particular one that I use on him, and I've used actually several, and so we just started using that from here on out. And now, of course, he's speaking Swedish. I'm speaking English. You know, everyone in Sweden knows how to speak English. It's just part of their educational system. But he's getting better and better. And then you have the higher ups are coming through and helping with the language barrier. And as you can tell right now, they're coming through loud and clear. And so that's basically how we met, via online. And we just developed this friendship. and of course, they started telling us how connected we were and how we've been working together for, for a very long time. So,
And you're in Houston, Hank, and Lars is in southern Sweden. So you have a time difference as well. And so it's about, it's like,
7.
yeah, 7 hours
7 hours,
difference. So
yes.
y'all get together very, very frequently. And so you started out with a method that was a tool for you to learn how to get him into a certain place. But once you get there, it's basically revisiting is very easy and very quick. And I think that we'll demonstrate that here towards the end of the show. But I want to get into, I want to talk to Lars, and I want to ask you, Lars, what was it that attracted you to what Hank was doing? And how did you know innately that you needed to contact him? What were you thinking? What was the goal?
Yeah, I have been involved in this kind of area in over 40 years now. I have done a lot of practice in meditation during all this year, and I also worked a little bit in the area of mediumship. Uh, and I have been into several areas. I tried it, tarot cards. I done this chart with stars, signs, and all that, and
Astrology.
astrology. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Can I get a
Uh,
box, please?
yeah,
Personal preference.
and yeah, so I stumbled upon Dolores Cannon work, and I related to that kind of work she did. I mostly saw her speaking about her method in different conferences and so on, and I tried to find a practitioner here in Sweden, but there weren't any. I think I found one, but I didn't relate to that person. So I started search around a little bit, and I stumbled upon Hank's work on his YouTube channel, and I felt this can be something. This feel natural, and I directly connected to the way he presented his work on the YouTube channel. So I contacted him, and first I just wanted to chat a bit with him about his methods, and but it developed from there. So I have always been a very intuitive person, an open person for alternative ways to see the world. And I have been contacted on and off all my life from extraterrestrial or whatever you want to call them. So yeah, and we had some trouble in the beginning, but it was related to the culture difference between Hank and my country, so to speak. And there was some misunderstanding, but we cleared that up, and now we understand that we are brothers.
I'm Army and he's Navy. This is that way.
Yes.
Yes, Hank.
But that's for real. I was in the Army and he was in the Navy.
Yeah, I was
So,
going to say
Yeah.
you do have a military background,
yeah.
and you as well have been let's just say involved in some paranormal and extraterrestrial things since a very young child as well,
Yeah.
right, Hank?
The first.
Yes.
Oh,
I've
yeah.
been,
Sorry.
no worries. One of my first memories, I'll just make it quick, is that I remember as a kid that the darkness was coming onto me, coming like black goo, probably from when I was a little kid and I saw the thing. Remember the thing, the glob?
Hmm.
But it was black. And I remember having a can of spray. And I would just spray it and it would just back up or whatever. And does that have anything to do with it? I just remember the dark was sort of at me. Do you know what I'm saying? And but I started remembering the abduction, or what I say abduction scenarios, when after I moved here to Houston, and yes, and you wake with the sleep paralysis, and they're moving around and doing things or whatever, and That was like my very first time that I actually remember that there was a memory that was there, and then it just started happening over and over, and through the years it started happening, and then I finally was in Ohio and I opened up a school. I was doing so many things, and it was happening all the time. And I actually went to a psychiatrist who did hypnotherapy across the school, a street from the school that I had. And because I was making so much money with the school, I can afford the $100 an hour. And I went and had a session, and it wasn't like what we do with QHHT. Because Michelle, you're a practitioner as well, correct?
I'm trained in it, but I never actually. I tried doing it with Greg. Greg tried doing it with me, and neither one of us could go under with the QHHT method. Maybe because we knew what was coming next. I don't know, but we
Oh,
tried for
that's
weeks and
good.
weeks. But no, I don't actually practice it, but I do have a very good knowledge of it, and I'm very interested in it. And I have read all of Dolores's books as well,
Oh,
but I understand that your method is actually different because you and Lars actually do it through Skype, and so you took the basics and actually turned it into something that would be appropriate for Skype. And Lars, if you have a disconnection, Lars actually his higher self works him through what to do if you're disconnected on Skype. So it's a very safe method between you two. But I don't know. I mean, you've been doing it for so long. I don't know if that's something that other people should try until they actually talk to you first for safety methods. But I think we have to let go of the fear of the controlled methods of certain things and more go with how we're guided and know that we're always protected and actually begin to turn things into situations and methods that go more towards today's energy, which is fast and the information needs to get out there and just follow, how you're guided.
what I, the what when I'm absolutely. When I went to the woman, the who induced me the first time, it was like Dolores would always say, it was the old method of you're getting heavier and sleepier and this and that, and it took a while or whatever, and it was very fleeting, the images or what have you. But say even in the QHHT session, I've actually had people where there was a disconnect, and immediately their higher self came in and said, "Wake up," and then they woke up,
That's
and then
cool.
but the most interesting part, it was in the very beginning. But to be clear, out of all the sessions that Lars and I have done, and just recently, because I've decided that I'm going to continue to do my versions via Skype and with other people. So I even edited more into my induction the part about
Oh, that's
if the
good.
technology breaks down or what have you. And I reassure everyone, I say, I tell you, your higher self will wake you up. They'll say, oh, the connection was just lost. But what I was meant to say is for sure, we've done over you've noticed there's 80 posts right now of he and I together, and it only happened one time. Do you know what I'm saying? So
Yes, yes, yes.
here, even in this scenario, okay, I'm not under or anything like that, but how many of these sessions, you have 124,000 subscribers and you do
Yes.
all these interviews. How often does it break? How often
It
does it?
used to happen a lot more on Blog Talk Radio, but I went from using Blog Talk to now just recording on Skype, and I've had the clearest connections. It's been beautiful doing things on
Excellent. And
Skype. But when you were abducted, when you were a child and you're having these memories of being abducted, do you feel like that was a military program?
well,
Are you getting
I,
to the bottom of that in your sessions with Lars?
I had, at first, as it was happening, I was reading Ridley Schreiber. It's so funny. I can like, commu- a confirmation, but I have all of them. It's so funny that it just happens. They happen to be sitting right there, breakthrough, and all of them. And I read. I was reading those books because I was like, "What is going on here? What's going on?" or whatever. And then I just noticed that, uh, to not. He was at one point. He's saying not to have any fear, and so I was like, "Okay, you know what? I'm not going to be afraid. I want to see them. I want to see them, and I want to find out what's going on because, well, at one point they would come and they would get me, But they weren't taking my physical body, they were taking my etheric body. And I would rise up and I'd be laying on my back, and then this one with big eyes would come over me, and I would see it and just pass out from fear because it was so unearthly, so to speak, and it looked like a praying mantis. I thought it was going to spit on me and chew off my head. Then I realized later that I was actually laying on my back. Now, in the sessions, I had found out in the QHHT sessions with several people, I would do those. A majority of those sessions online are for free. And my subscribers know they've been for free. I just had a desire to get the message out there that we're so much more than what we ever thought that we were. And that was my sole intent for putting them out there. And so in the session, after I do one for free, I'd say, okay, can I ask questions about myself in the end? Which is why a lot of people will go, why are you asking so many questions about you?
Yes,
Blah, blah,
there's so
blah.
much controversy
And I'd be
over
like, you know
rules.
what? Anyway, it never stopped me, but I always did address them. I always say, I'm a Scorpio born in the year of the dragon. I am a fighter. I was in the
Question
military.
everything.
I have 5 brothers, 3 sisters. There's a lot of, you know what I'm saying? So the bottom line was, they said that, and this was recent, that I had been in those programs. And that's what the gentleman, James, who we're actually going to get together later on today, he had brought that forward, that I had been, and he named particular times. And then he said they came in and they stopped it because for like 2 years, they were having me do things that was against my will. Now, Lars and I posted a session last night that we did, and it said the exact same thing.
Right, I know.
And
I listened
paranoid
to
me
it.
is like, oh my God, he went back and he saw my other ones, and he's just, you know.
Now,
It,
I do want to make it clear. I think, Hank, you're so busy, and Lars, I don't know, how much time you spend on the internet, but there's a lot of things that I see you two bringing together, bringing forth, that I have seen or heard other people talk a little bit about. And so it's for me, in my little world, in Michelle's little world, I do listen to a lot of different things, and I see correlation, and that's what drew me in is, okay, now I've got 2 people who are correlating a lot of things that other people are saying. So
Yeah.
I can
And
confirm.
I realized also now that the messages that are put out are more similar in their way. In the beginning, there were a lot of fear-mongering going on about hidden agendas, and that are not the focus anymore, and that make me very pleased, because I don't want to focus on the negative side, because there are always 2 sides of a coin, so to speak. So I and Hank decided to focus on things that really help us, bringing us forward in this ascension going on around us, because it's happening so fast now, and it's so important for us to, in a way, be prepared for it, because it's happening every day, something happening, and we have had a lot of conversation off camera also about these things. And it's, for me, very important to focus on what help us going through that process.
I
well,
guess the
let's be
point,
clear. I'm sorry. Let's
I,
be clear.
mhm.
Lars barely listens to anything.
That's what I wanted to say.
I listen to everything because
Yeah.
I know what's coming into me. I write it in my poems. Stuff that I've written in those poems, there's 8, there's 1,800, almost 1,800 of them. 1,700 of them easily, because it is the meat of my channel. But all, plus all the rest of the QHEs and all that other stuff that I put on there. So, but that information, if you really go back and listen, the majority of the things that I'm even asking about, it's already come through to me as I've written it down. I don't know what I'm going to write. It's just when it's finished, I go, oh, that's cool. And it makes a sense. I've actually written several books about it. But Lars listens to very little.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's the
So,
point
and
I
to
was going
keep
to
it
make.
as clear as possible, so he's not influenced by
Exactly.
anything else. Now, there
Yeah.
are things that I go, okay, Lars, no, you got to listen to this.
Yeah.
See, just,
All that things I got through you, Hank. You tell me that this is being said, and
Yeah.
then I go out there and listen, because I
yes,
I decided not to be influenced by outside, because there is a lot of
reluctantly,
things go. Yeah.
Now,
very
Lars,
That's
reluctantly.
tell
yeah.
us about the beings that are here with us, or especially showing themselves through you. I've already seen them once. I haven't really been focusing on you, but they're little red lights that
Yeah,
swirl around, and they
yeah.
have been in
They,
many of your videos.
yes, and the form of light changes in color and in size accordingly to Hank. I don't see them until afterwards when I look at the video clip we done. Uh,
Who are they?
they are different uh, kind of frequencies. Some of them downloading information to me. Some of them are there, sorry to say, kicking my ass to tell me that you need to go on. And I do a lot of meditation, and I do transcription of my meditation and put up on my YouTube site. I got a lot of information. I have done that for many, many years. And I also developed an own technique that also is a form of guided visualization that I also offer for other people if they want to. But I, I get all messages in Swedish, so I have to transcribe them into English, and I have found this wonderful program that helped me to translate. So it's really related closely to what the message that is given to me is from the beginning, so to speak. And there are many different levels they come from. We have been all back to, I think, 18th
18th, around the size of
dimension.
18.
Yeah, and I didn't realize from the beginning that there were so many different levels. The most I have heard about before was 11, I think, and now we have been in a
Are you
higher
talking about dimensions?
Well,
dimensions.
sometimes we're
Yeah,
speaking to 11th dimensional beings, 15th dimensional beings, 13th dimensional beings, and highest thus far has been the 18th dimensional beings. But Lars has been writing all that stuff down and doing that and not putting it out there. And that's where sort of we came together. And I kept saying, you need to do it, do it, do it. And not to say I'm taking any credit for it or whatever, but part of our relationship was to say, quit being afraid, quit being humble from your backgrounds and being raised in Sweden. You know, there's a huge difference between Americans and Swedes. And so
and what
I
we
was doing.
do need to understand is what we are talking about is not being that are manifested in any way, because the most of the information I get is from energetic beings, directly from a soul, so to speak, because they are not manifested in that high frequency, in that high reality where they are residing, and but they can manifest as whatever they would like to manifest, and for me. And Hank, they have manifested in dolphins, whales, all kind of things, wolves. Um, so they often do that because we, as humans, need a reference to understand what's going on. We need boundaries because we can't perceive the way of no limits, and we can't perceive the way of fourth dimension even. We can't imagine that as human being. So they sometimes take names and manifestation in different way to make it easier for us to understand.
The ones
Uh,
that appear on the screen are, according to you, Hank, they're here to say hello and to let us know that they're there. You know,
Well,
basically that's why they're showing up.
yeah, they're
yeah,
raising his vibration for the messages that are coming through. He's getting downloads.
yeah,
They're also as a show of protection, like these guys are legitimate, and yes, we are here
There,
with.
they just
Yes,
did
there you
it.
go. We are protecting them, so don't even
Thank
think
you.
twice about it. And also keeping the connection. So protection and validation. See, every time I say protection, they're like, yes, we're here. See that?
That was really
See
cool.
that?
That
And
was really cool.
validation of the information and our intention and what we're doing. They started showing up in mine as the blue orbs.
Oh, I haven't seen it on yours.
I have a whole channel, a whole
play.
playlist that starts called Orbs, Orbs, Orbs. Now it's called Orbs and Light Entities because they would show us orbs. I mean, they literally would come in and float around, and you can literally see them in these motions, and lots of them, not just like one time. And then I had the one that came up like electricity, and it went this way, and then it went 90 degrees. A big, huge flash of it's there on the videos, and
Yeah. And do you remember when I made you aware of something happening when you were talking in one of your poems you put up? They give you a thumb up.
Oh yes,
Just
I didn't
just
even
thumb
catch
come
that.
like this.
And yeah, then they started showing up in the QHHT sessions with me. There's one like what 3 weeks ago I did with Alexia, and she's sitting there, and then all of a sudden in this room right over there, looked like fireworks. You know the fireworks that just flash on and off. But that's what came up, just a whole bunch of them. So I have a whole playlist that says, if you want to see all of them, back to back to back to back to back, there's like 16 of them. Even yesterday's session, if you see it, but we were talking beforehand, they really come in the beginning, and it's like, okay, he's getting ready to do this, let's go, they're on Skype again, or whatever the case. And so sometimes he turns the camera, look, there's no one in this apartment, and it's obviously not a laser, because, well, first of all, they're illegal in Sweden. And a laser will, if it hits my face, then it's going to go to here. Do you know what I mean? So.
Oh, I know. It's
we can't fake
definitely
that.
not faked.
Yeah, that's what I say.
And you're able to follow the beam from the light source if it was from outside, yeah. But I think they have different purposes. They are here to confirm what we're doing. They're saying hello to us, but they also, as Hank said, they are here to help me get higher in the frequency, so I have easier to connect with that kind of reality where they are, so to speak. Yeah.
People watch closely. You'll see them hit his third eye, his crown, and his throat chakra. I literally, I made that video that day because you can, boom, boom. It kept blowing it up, and then it shoot out, and then it would hit there. Even just now, sometimes like earlier today, it was going in his mouth. It was coming down.
So I wanted to ask one more question about the method, so that I know that a lot of people have already watched your videos from, seeing them on N5D and on various other places they found you. Lars, do you remember anything about the session after you come back out?
Some of them I remember a fragment of the session. Some of them is I have noticed that when they take me into that state of channeling, me and myself often take off from that place doing something totally different. So I'm busy doing other things while Hank is doing all this questioning. So I'm not aware of the questions. So I often afterward ask, was it good? Because I don't remember. I remember in the beginning and sometimes when I'm coming out of it, because then I'm coming out of it. So.
Do you go back and watch all of them?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
And I often edit them also.
Oh, okay.
There are times we talk about a lot of different things before we begin the session, but a lot of times I won't tell him any of the questions or anything whatsoever. And
no.
And those are always my favorite. Yeah. Totally my favorite. And literally like yesterday's session,
but they are always aware of what we wanted to.
Yes, they're always aware.
Yeah,
yes,
they are tuning totally to it. So sometimes they answer the questions before you ask them. So the question, yeah.
What I want to get into.
I'm sorry. I was saying, remember the one with Dolores Cannon and
they're here just all over.
Dolores was like. What did Dolores? I thought I told Lars, but he said he doesn't remember. So but I wrote it down that I wanted to speak to Dolores. So we're finishing up the session. I was going to leave the one door because there was a double door, and I made the suggestion there would be 3 doors, 1 door for this information, 1 door for Dolores, and 1 door for whatever else they had to say. I mean, I lead it that way in my particular guided visualization. That's what I'm doing. I'm guiding them into this place. But this particular place had a double door. I never knew that because it was a double door that I was going to get who I needed to speak to and also uh, Dolores, because at the very end of it, hey, I really think I just saw one of those things in my own. I think I never, that was the first time ever. But after we finished, I was getting ready to bring him out because I forgot about the double doors. And he says, "Here comes some woman running in." And it was Dolores saying, "Didn't you want to speak to me? Didn't you want to speak to me?" And then I was like, "Oh." And I said, "Yes, I was going to go through the other door." I say it actually in the session. And then she decided, she came out to have a good conversation with us. And I just want to say right now, for the record, the entity it said that that's how they said who they were. They said they were Dolores Cannon. So if it was or if it wasn't, I,
No.
I always discern, and I tell everyone don't believe a word of it. So or any of it.
Just
Even
take
my
what you
thoughts.
need and
Yeah,
leave the
yeah,
rest. This is all, you guys are dedicating your whole lives just like I do, just like Greg does, just like anybody who realizes who they really are and realizes that they're here to do something, a mission on the planet. You guys are dedicating everything you have to
Yeah.
bringing forth information and finding out more about yourselves. So the more you find out about yourselves and who you are,
thank
the
you.
the more that you can have confidence and know what you're here to do.
Yeah.
Lars?
And when you are on your path, so to speak, you are getting confirmation all the time in different way. So it can be very sublime sometimes, but when you analyze it afterward, you can understand that, oh, that was a confirmation for what I'm doing. Not many write great comments about what we're doing, but that is not necessary for me because my wishes is to reach as many as possible. That's the only focus I have, and that's
That's
why.
our goal, 100%.
Yeah,
That's
Absolutely.
yeah,
what we came back from the future actually to do.
yeah.
So,
Thank you for
okay,
saying that, Michelle.
so who are you guys? I know I've listened to your videos. You both have 11th dimensional aspects of yourself. You have sixth dimensional aspects, or, just tell me, we'll start with Hank. Who are you guys?
According to Sessions, uh, I am a son of the sea in the house of Uriel, dragonborn, and a creator god, for lack of a better word. Literally one of the original creators. They said in session that I actually helped create the earth, the topography, where the mountains were, how high they were going to be, how the rivers went, the whole 9 yards. They say that I'm a teacher and that lots of entities all over the multiverse know who I am and like to listen to my fresh ideals and stuff to that. And which is why, like, they're saying, Hank, you're so connected. That's why every single day you could write a poem that may have so much meaning in it. Uh, and I only say this only because you just asked, and I actually made a playlist that says, "Who is Hank according to QHHT?" And so I just keep getting teacher, and then almost in every session, I know that Dolores said the people will be drawn to you who are drawn to your energy signature, and obviously people who have had experience with you in other dimensions or whatever, and other expressions of yourself. But every time I say, "Well, do they know who Hank is?" and there's always a smile and a, "Oh God, here we go, here he comes," or something like that, and it makes me sort of laugh, and in a humble way, though. Seriously, it's like I always have a big smile across my face when I hear that because you know so many people have said, "Hank, everyone knows who you are. The fairies know who you are. The thorax know who you are. The this, the that. There, you've been there. You've been in these places. You've helped." And that's the one thing that they said that, particularly, that there's a group of us that come to these planets. You included, Lars included. I can name a whole bunch of other people that I've asked. Krista Rea, that have come to this planet during these times when they're getting ready to make a major shift, and that's exactly what we do. They say I've been here 14 times, but only 3 times that really counted. The other four teams were maybe like a vacation or something, just enjoying the planet or something to that effect. The other ones were crazy, but
So we're multidimensional beings, and so we have an aspect of ourselves pretty much probably in every dimension. And I've
yes.
had many lifetimes on the planet and off the planet in preparation to have the knowledge and ability to everything that we've done in the past for eons of times
But
has
there's
come
really no
down to
such thing
this.
as the past. It's all happening simultaneously. So literally, when you do a session, you rise above what I say, this is earth and this is heaven, for lack of a better word. When you rise above it, you can now see past, future, parallel, because it's all happening simultaneously in the now. It's just that when you come through the veil and the the illusion of the third dimension, the polarity, the duality, and you forgetting your connection. Some come with all of it, remembering it all, but a majority don't. And
Yeah.
then you have a free will zone to boot, so you can choose the devil or the angel, and whichever one you feed is the one that grows and has dominance in your life. But you have free will to choose, and so
And neither one of them are any worse in Creator's
no,
eyes.
yes, because
They
you don't
both
have
have a
light,
role to
you don't know
play.
what dark is. If you don't
We're,
have hate, you don't know what fear is or forgiveness, or do you know what I mean? If you punch me and I go, ouch, and I can either forgive you or I can punch you again and keep that going. You know what I mean? So opposition, it gives opposition. You have to have contrast in order for it to make a difference. So that's what it's meant. It's a divine plan, and it's where
Yeah, and
it's
many misunderstand that term of karma, that is some kind of punishment we put up on ourselves. It's definitely not. It's just a contract we fulfill with ourselves, that we are going into this reality and manifesting back on earth or wherever. And we have a purpose with that. If we came in here with full remembrance of what we have done before, we will not put ourselves up to that different time of task we need to do. And everything we collect in, we are special in that way because we have an emotional life that not many other beings have. They are very high developed in their minds and in the technology, but humans are unique in the way we have emotions and feelings. And we have to embody or manifest to experience that. And all of that experience we bring in to ourselves, we transfer to we can say, a big library of knowledge that everyone above our frequency can tap into. So it's like a big knowledge base. I call it a database sometimes because,
exactly.
uh, yeah, and I have seen this place, and it's not, of course, not uh, physical, but when I entered in there, it was like a big warehouse with no end, and there were shelves all over, and you can just decide what you wanted to know, and it came to you directly in that place. So everything is collected back to the source or God or whatever you want to call it, as a big knowledge of what was inquired from us from the birth of our souls. So
that's what we were created for, is to go out and experience and bring that
yes,
information back to source
exactly,
as experience.
Yeah, they said
exactly.
that our emotions is what tie us so close to source. But I never ever resonated with people, no matter who they were, and how much respect I have for them when they say that we're children and we're babies. Now, true enough, the Homo sapien may be very new and very fresh, but the entities that manifest themselves into Homo sapiens are the bravest of the brave to be able to come in and say, okay, I'm brave enough and I have enough faith and confidence and connection to source to know that you can make me forget and I'm still going to be able to come down here and do this. And
Yeah,
then, you know what I'm saying, and
yeah.
reconnect back. And they
We
say,
have to forget to fulfill the task we took up on ourselves.
yes.
You know,
And
We,
Julia Cannon actually said that we had to be masters in order to be incarnated in this
exactly.
lifetime.
Yes,
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
we
Those
all
are
are
the babies
masters.
that they would say. Now,
Yeah,
some of the babies have gotten, or some of us have, or there's a large group of that have sort of gotten lost in the sensation of physicality. And because the planet is going, and because of the free will, and because of this anomaly, the anomaly that was created, which you call fear, in order to have this contrast, has gotten people locked into a system to where that's why all of the universe, these armadas of everything is coming through like, hey, this planet is getting ready to shift. It's time. It's like the birthing. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
There's a lot of pain and a lot of screaming, and before the birth actually happens, which is a really rough period, within a pregnancy. But before we're being reborn into, or just remembered, do this in remembrance of me, remember that this is what you really are, a lot had forgotten. And that's, of course, why I think we're here to remind them and to awaken them just with our energetic signature. You don't have to tell anybody, just be around them and they will, it's like that 100 monkey thing, it's just, we're sort of an infection, a love infection, I'd like to say. But
Lars.
Who are you,
Yes.
Lars?
Who are you?
I'm an old fart. No,
I can smell it from here.
I realized that my soul is rather old in linear time.
Linear expression, yeah.
Yeah, but there is no such as time. There is no time without space in a way. So I also originated from a water planet as the first manifestation I had. And I was, I think I was a beluga, is the name of that white whale. I thought first it was a dolphin, but I think it was a beluga. And that is the first lifetime I had as a manifestation. And after that, I have had thousands of manifestations all over universe. And I also recognize Hank's soul from many places and many different community we work together, or you used to call them
councils.
Councils, yeah. I like to call them communities, but it's the same thing. And so many things are taking place simultaneously. When we are talking here, other aspect of ourselves is out doing other things. And that is so hard for us to understand in this 3D reality we live in.
For some.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Lars. You know how I just don't like to feed that the limitation. It's not so hard, you guys. It's getting easier daily. I'm sorry, forgive me.
Yeah, and soon it will
Well, our
be
words are very powerful, and when you say that people have a hard time understanding that, then it makes it so. So kind of like wordsmithing is changing what you're saying, but I understand
in a
both
way.
of you.
Yeah.
That's my craziness. I apologize, but
And sometimes your brain gets in the way.
yes, it's that
His brain chatter is talking louder.
Yes, that's right, Lars.
Yeah.
And I say that lovingly because I feel like I already know you from listening.
Well, but I mean, see, that's the part of the teacher in me that says, if you keep saying it's hard, it's going to be hard, and you brainwash people into thinking that it's hard. And so I always, I can't help it.
But that is not what I meant. Anyway.
I know. Okay. Well, I'm just clarifying. You know how we like to do that.
Yeah.
Who are you,
It's not hard. It's really easy. It's really easy.
It
We
is.
just have to tap into it.
Yes.
But when we start to use our mind, it's very hard to imagine another dimension of everything when we use our human minds, because they are, brains, exactly. The brain is a computer that is running the program we're going through now. So, there is the reality for the most of us is what they get from the brain, from the senses, from the smell, what they hear, and whatever. Yeah. That is the feeding they get in this reality. But there is so much more than this. If you only acknowledge that you can say it. It's much more than this, and it will be revealed for you. Not directly, of course. You have to put some effort in. You have to I always say, connect back to nature, go hug a tree, step into the lake, swim in the river, sit by the seashore, look at the water, and you are going to be enlightened with so much more. And by the way, try to shut up your chatter going on in the brain, and meditation is a very good method to do that.
So you've been close to Hank in many situations, many parallel realities that are happening.
Yeah.
If Hank was involved in creating mountains, for instance,
Yeah.
what hand did you have in the creation of this reality that we call Earth?
I'm more into the technology. I'm now working on technology that are going to bring forward in a near future. When we ask when, they always laugh at us because there is no when. For us, a year can be a long time. For them, it's nothing. For the other realities. So back then, when Hank was in that kind of state when he did this, I was off doing other things.
Okay.
Yeah, and there are many planets in our own galaxy that are vibrating in the same frequency as we are here, but they have not gone through war. They have no hostility, so they are enlightened in another way. Even still, they are in a 3D situation. So we can obtain that in our daily life if we let go of the feeling of fear and hatred. If we only express to our neighbors, our friend, that we're not always resonate what you're doing, but we love you and respect you. It has so much power in that, so very much power in that.
So go back to the time of when you were created from source. Everyone has a certain type of job to do. So yours is more of a technical, scientific job?
It had changed over time, so to speak, because from the beginning it was collecting a lot of information from different places. So I was some kind of sponge collecting information. And then it has been for many lifetimes I was involved in the timeline where the galactic community decided to interfere by the way they are demolish the impact that can we say the elite have had on us. Sorry
Assist.
for my...
So they're here to assist in the change to...
And they have done that through different timelines on planet Earth's history. And there were a time where they deported entities on this planet that not longer was wanted here. And I was involved with that also. So we have put up different tasks for ourselves in almost every manifestation we make. But between there, we can be in different communities and
several different ones.
Exactly. And we there decide together in a way what's the best way to do different things, how to put forward information, what kind of information is okay to come out now, and because the universal law is do no harm, and that's applying to every living being. And so we have to have that in the conversation we have when we go in and affect another planet or another galaxy. We have to have that in mind all the time. So it's very important to have these communities talking together how to change things. And we are now passing through a very high frequency area in our universe, the whole galaxy, and everything is expanding. The sun is expanding, the earth is expanding, and we notice it, but we don't always relate to what it is. We can see an increase of volcano and all that kind of things. And it's a sign of what's going on. But they are here and try to protect us from the afterwork of that, because it has to be done.
Well, they're not the kind of the rules of this universe was you're not allowed to interfere in the way that a species grows unless it at this point a divine plan was come out to say that
Yeah.
if they were going to actually blow up planet Earth, that would be like that's it.
Yeah.
You can get together and figure out the best way to go in and remove the extreme negativity that has been holding
Yeah.
the planet, because they've proven that in the future
Yeah.
timeline the planet would explode because of
Yeah.
nuclear
What they're not,
weapons.
yeah, what they're not are allowed to interfere with is the free will. So they cannot tell you what to do. They cannot tell you how to be. That's up to you as an individual to decide. But
They can't
they can,
coach.
huh?
I said they
What?
can coerce you.
Yeah, and they can coach you. Yeah, um, so they can intervene when they see something is slipping out of hand, so to say. And it's been going on this planet for at least a couple of 100 years now. It's slipping away.
There's
What
been
is
many divine decrees that have been made.
Yeah,
Literally,
what
no,
is so special
okay.
about Earth?
no more, no
What is
more.
so special about Earth to
The
get the
Earth is
attention
not
of the
special. Yeah, the Earth is not special as a planet. There are many Earths in the universe, but the inhabitants and the abundance of living entities on this planet is unique.
okay.
And the
There are,
emotional connection to
yeah,
source,
and the emotion we have are
most important.
unique in the universe also. There's not many places that are governed and controlled by the emotion as people, as humans.
It's also come to me that we are the first domino. When this domino falls, that it's going to
Yeah,
affect the entire multiverse
yeah,
starting here, because the vibration here is, because it's been allowed to go so low, because of course it's a free will zone, but
yeah,
there's been major uh, influences by other entities that are here in this third dimension that
yeah,
have come through and had dragged us there, and even gone so far as to do genetic experiments on us,
yeah.
lowering our vibration and trying to keep us in that state. And
And
there still is a divine plan, and so the divine plan will play itself out. And there have been decrees in my sessions. They've said there's no nuclear explosions, no more major false flags where thousands and thousands of people are killed like instantly, to the way it was before.
yeah.
Several.
The ruling elite on this planet in different countries have the power to their power their ambition is to control the masses, because if they lose the control, uh, they will we will automatically descend into a higher frequency, because they're keeping us in fear. That's the best way for them to control. And now they have decided that enough is enough. This has been going on for so many years, so now they are intervening in this and helping us with this transition into a higher frequency.
Because the divine plan that's in place
Yeah,
says
yes,
that we're
yeah,
at the end of it. Gaia is ready to rise back up to Terra. She's done her job. Everything that we needed to learn, to
yeah,
experience, as far as what was considered negative and dark, it's all been experienced. There's nothing else. This no longer serves us any longer.
no,
This low vibration, which is why this shift is happening. And of course, it's the time. There was a divine plan from the very beginning. The source knew that we were going to be traveling through a particular area of space. You know what I mean? And when that vibration would get so high, all that negative is going to fall off. Everyone thinks that it's going to be something so horrible and so terrible, but that's not true. It's going to be gentle. And I mean, if you just like waking up in the morning and it's like all of a sudden, I don't feel like being a murderous dictator anymore, and all of a sudden, okay, I'm going to sign this and I'm going to sign this and I'm going to do this and we're going to make these transitions. of course, there will be things like you say in a labor, which that's going to make someone's going to have to scream. And when when the woman screams in labor, what does everyone do? They all focus on her, and everyone's going over there to help. And
Yeah.
so, just
That's
like
why
not
I
too long
always
ago, there was a huge UFO that was displayed, and I was listening to Blossom Goodchild this morning, and she was doing a channeling with the Galactic Federation of Light, and they said it was real. But don't really focus on that. It was real. She said, you've been asking for all these years, and then we present something to you, and the first thing you do is you're in doubt. It was really good. If you go Blossom Goodchild, she's one of my favorites. But there was a huge UFO, and even my partner said, "Hey, did you?" He showed it to me, and it was on the national feed of. It wasn't on just like Golden Age of Gaia or ND5 or do you know what I'm saying? It was on the regular national news. This huge UFO,
Oh,
and
I didn't see that. That
it
was
was
just
like the
when,
first page. When you go online, that very first
right?
page.
Like Yahoo or whatever you're using.
Yes, it was right there, and I was like, "Whoa!" And Eddie brought it to my attention, and I saw it, and so
And how do people know though that that's not part of the government's plan to roll out a fear
well,
campaign about the
of course, and that's
extraterrestrials?
exactly what Blossom Goodchild said, of course, and they said, you know, as soon as you guys are asking, you ask me, I tell you that was real, and it wasn't the government plan, and it wasn't da 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 da. But then one thing that he also said was, he says, the first thing you do was doubt it. And then for some reason you think even if they did a false flag that you underestimate us, that we wouldn't be able to diminish it or to evaporate whatever type of false flag that they were doing instantaneously, especially if there were some type of weapons or whatever. And they said, and one thing that you will know for sure to make the difference is if we show up that way, there's going to be no weapons or no armament whatsoever. So, and then of course you're going to have to feel it with your heart. And
So the
they
government's plan, the world's government plan, the cabal, whatever you want to call them, to create some kind of scenario like that is actually just made up, probably, so that when the benevolents do show up, then we question it.
That was my first thought. That was my first thought. I was like, oh yeah, they made, you know what I mean? Uh,
And you really know when it's real because you when you are in connection with what you see, you're also in connection with your heart, so you
yes,
know
yes.
this
See
is the
how
real thing. Yeah,
you can feel it. That's why I'm point.
yeah, you
That's what
feel
I
it.
love about
Yes,
our connection. Because
yeah,
I don't. Were you looking at me doing that?
no,
Oh, okay. Because I was like, you're gonna feel it with your heart, and
yeah,
so I'll do the choreography, and you just recite.
yeah.
Yes.
And as I said, I don't focus on the negative, even if it's great if the government have that technology, with which I really
I
doubt
don't
that
think
I.
they do. They have like
No,
physical ships, not like semi-etheric or
no,
light ships.
no.
Yes.
And
Exactly.
all the encounters I have had, it's always started with a energy ship, then manifest into our reality for us to perceive it at all. So
Well, that's the point about Earth's ascension, is as she raises her vibration, we are
yeah,
able to raise ours and connect with, there you go. Did you see it, Hank?
Yes. Yes. I saw.
Um, they are able to connect with the higher dimensional beings rather than fourth dimensional and third dimensional technology of the lower
yeah,
frequency beings. So we
yeah,
that we can't even see those in the future, the hard metallic type ships. But we
Yes.
uh,
know that they have really reverse engineered technology because Hank has experience with being abducted. I mean,
yeah.
there's technology that can make you
Well, I
freeze
was
and
actually in the hospital, and uh, I had a strangulated hernia. So I guess, but I was in the military while this was happening. So I guess that's when that particular thing was happening, where there was a physical something of them doing things or what have you. Uh, Now, the other, when I told you I was on my back and I can see this big thing, I was my body, because I've asked in session, they said that my body, anytime that the higher ups have come and had interactions with me, um, they never took me on board with my physical body. Now, one time they did actually come to me while I'm a singer, dancer, choreographer, blah, blah, blah. I was doing Brigadoon in Florida, and they came and they worked on my back. and that was an actual physical manifestation where they were actually there and they were doing work on me. They said they were strengthening my chakras or whatever because of whatever they had been doing with the other program that they stopped. And they
Yeah,
said
and the
for 2 years.
yeah, and the government in different places on this planet has been in uh, cahoots with some kind of entities before. It's not longer taking any place because they were promised to give an opportunity to control people, but they were just fooled and they were stupid enough to go for that. And they're
Well, they weren't
during,
stupid, they just weren't informed.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, exactly. And that was during the time when many people experienced being taken by aliens and experienced that thing, and that was implanted by the governments.
And that is
And
so like old history now, right? Is what you're saying.
yeah,
And you're
yeah,
finding out
exactly.
all this stuff through these regressions that you're doing, through
Yeah,
this
yeah,
through these
exactly.
sessions that
Yes.
you're doing.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
let's move forward to the times that we're in, the exciting time that the planet's going through. There's star seeds that are here to help assist humanity through the birth of a new Earth, basically. Um, Give us, let's go with you, Lars, first. Give us just a general statement, a summary of how this is going to unfold. And, we don't do time frames, but what will it take for us to, as people on the earth that know that this is probably going to happen in my lifetime, how is
yeah.
that possible? Is it going to take 40 years, or are we going to live longer? Are we going to reverse our aging? Give us just a little bit of a way we can wrap our brains
Yeah.
around what you feel like is going to unfold. Are children going
I,
to go through it, or are we going to go through it?
Yeah, I don't have all the answer how it's going to be really, but I can present what I know, and that is that it has been going on for quite a while now. So we have a big shift 2012 into where the planet itself started vibrating in a higher frequency. And there was a lot of talk about disaster and the planet is going to vanish and all that. But that is people that misinterpret the energy that coming into them. They were filled with fear from the beginning. The way is not going to be very sudden or in a violent way. It's going to be fed into us by different energy levels that rising our understanding and our ability. We are going to get a feeling of, I know what this person is going to say. I know what he's thinking of. And that connection is getting more obvious for many of us. And we have a session last night about children because I had a meditation that I got some information that we need to protect the new generation coming through now because they are coming in much more enlightened than earlier generation. There has been a lot of birth of what you call indigo children and all that, and everyone that is being born now and forward has that kind of ability, but in the same time they are also vulnerable for influence. That's why I talked with Hank about we have to be aware of what happened in our school systems, what is happening in the society as whole, because they are very vulnerable, and many comes in and we interpret it like they have some kind of mental disability. We were talking about
Autism.
Autism.
autism, yeah. Why is it so increasing
Prevalent.
so much? Yeah, but it's not the truth because they have other ability, but we cannot. We like to put labels on things, and there have never been so many combination of letters on children before as now, And we have to be careful with that, because when we do that, we also constrain their ability to develop. And we have to help them. We have to see what they feeding them from the school system, and because not all is in the best interest. Talking about what is going to happen again is that most of us that is waking up now are perceive. We can feel abilities that we never had before. And talking about lifespan, the lifespan has increased immensely. If you only go back 100 years, people lived today about 45, 50, and now we can reach 100. And yes, we are going to get older because new strands of DNA is waking up and getting effect, and that also are affecting the ability to heal our physical bodies. And
So we're going to get younger, or we're going to continue to just live longer?
we're going still
Like
to
reverse? Is that
no,
possible? No?
we are not going back to an egg.
Yeah.
we
No, I mean like back to,
That's in his interpretation, but
I can only talk about my
that's fine.
interpretation.
You can
Yeah,
fill in the blanks, Hank, in just a
yeah.
second.
We are not getting younger. We're still going to age, but not in the same way that we are going to be very wrinkly and disabled. We're still going to preserve our strength and energy in a different way. So even if we're getting older in our faces, we're still as strong as we were 40 years old or 25 years old. So that is going to happen also.
Do you think that there'll be a moment that we do have like something that does happen suddenly, like a shift or an event that will propel us, or at least show
Yes,
humanity that something in the ones that are still sleeping, that will kind of wake them up?
yes.
What do you
I
think that will
think
be like?
I will. I think it will be the day when the society decide that the military doesn't need to be in existence anymore. And I think, and I feel it's coming really soon, the power of the military agenda all over the planet. You have a very powerful army in the US, and you put half of your budget into that. That is going to shrink very much, I think. And many of you now in your country talking about all of this war have gone through were wrong, and we don't need to do that anymore. And this shift of that mentality is going to have a huge impact. When the mostly of you say, no, we're not going to get involved in war anymore, then you don't need that big body like the military. And that is going to happen rather fast, I think. And
Okay, and
I'm looking forward to that.
check if you get a chance, Lars, check out my website called thestarchildren.net, and I
Yeah,
do talk about the preservation of children and
yeah,
protecting them and helping to encourage the imaginary conversations with their friends and the
exactly.
telepathic connection
Yeah,
with each other, between
yeah,
children to children, and supporting them and by not having vaccines as well.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's very important never to tell your children that they are imagining anything. I never did that to my children when they have imaginary friends. I understand that they are real for them, not real for me, because I couldn't perceive them always. But the interaction I had with the imaginary friend was very real. So who am I to come and say that you are wrong? Don't do that to the children. Allow them to develop in the way they need to develop, and just be
Perfect.
a support for them.
Well, let's let Hank fill in the blanks and we'll come back to
Sure,
Lars.
sure.
Hank, what do you think is happening on the planet and from your information that you've received?
well, in terms of the children that are being born today, they're being born with a fifth dimensional mentality
Yeah,
are already activated and awake. And then as we try to interpret what they're experiencing, then it's a label put on it in that respect. And in terms of, as you said, this process has been going on for a very long time, but there are a group of light workers that are here on this planet that are always on the planets at this particular time that will shift and shift quite dramatically. Like, uh,
Well, in your regression yesterday, there was 500 people.
that flash that will happen from the central sun as that energy instantaneously, flashes across the universe. There are those who are going to will be in full consciousness. And as they said, we will know exactly without even having to worry about, or they will know, I'll say, put it that way, that what their job is to do and to not expose themselves to people that they're totally awake and in full consciousness, and then they will be able to connect telepathically, energetically, being able to literally see the other light workers or the other people that are on the same path in a sense and communicate with them. And by them making those connections, that is going to start waking up a lot of light workers. Just like what Dolores Cannon said. I asked Dolores, Dolores, in your QHHT sessions, what do you see different that you don't see now? She says, well, the one thing that I definitely see, which is really amazing, is that once you have a session like that and you make connection to source or to your higher self or what have you, the connection is not broken. So each and every person and even the people who come and are watching these, it's like it's encoded. You see it and you hear it, and all of a sudden you're caught up in it, and there's a really real psychic connection that takes place between Lars and myself and Laura and every single person that I do this, and all the people that come in and listen that are resonating, and all of a sudden they hear this thing, oh my God, I'm connected with you, I need to get a hold of you, I need to be close to you, and it will be instant for some people. It's a matter of waking up and like really understanding a lot. But in that instance of having that full consciousness, you're not going to, well, it's in your best interest to not go running around telling everyone, oh my God, I can really see auras. Guess what? And you talk to them in their head and they can hear you back or whatever, until everything is perfectly right, because there are armadas of extra dimensionals that are surrounding this planet, and there is a plan. It's a divine plan that is going on, and everyone will know exactly what to do when the time is right to do it, and what can be said and what can be shared, and they're going to know that instantaneously. And all of those who aren't going to come into that full consciousness, the light workers, whom there's 8 billion people, and if there's only 500, but I'm absolutely sure this 500 is placed perfectly around the planet, and the work that they're doing and the people that they're connecting, it will definitely be like a ripple effect, but a fast ripple effect to where within, I've had sessions that have said that by 2021, there's no more wars taking place on the planet at all. That is, it's in the past.
The need for it is diminishing.
It's diminishing. It's diminishing.
Yeah.
You no longer, like I said before, and like you were saying, you won't have the impetus to do it or to have a desire to do it whatsoever. No. You won't want to just rule everybody and control everybody. You're actually going to feel that kinship, that connection. And those who don't have and who are fighting it, and you have free will to fight it if you want this. A lot of them already knew before they manifested. They had no intention on going through the shift. They wanted to just go through the process and be, the devil's advocate sort of play. Someone has to play both roles. They just have to, or it's not going to work. And those who don't, if they decide afterwards that they just decide, okay, I want to finish out this on another planet in another dimension in another place, or maybe I may have to go to a hospital wing because I knew that once I did this, I have no intention on staying dark the whole time. Take me to the hospital wing like we planned. Let me go through what I need to do to release all of that because I did it on purpose. You know what I mean? That's why I say love your neighbors, love everybody, love the person who you think hates you the most, because it is you. There's only one. There's oh see that
Hmm.
see every time I know I say certain things you'll get that line and I just hope people pay attention as you see you'll notice that and I'm not trying to say oh but you know what I mean when the truth really comes forward and is spoken or what have you people are going to resonate with it
Yeah.
and it's uh it's a divine plan. I don't, there's something that just keeps telling me, Hank, it's a divine plan. It's a divine plan. It's all meant. Everything that absolutely happens. And those who, like I said, who have decided, okay, I'm going to go be dark, and they're the worst person you could ever imagine, Hitler or whoever, and you know what I mean? They're going to go to the hospital and they're going to be fine. Those who decided to come here and then go to another place to finish out in the third dimension, but not in this low vibration, will absolutely do it because they want to stay physical. You know, that's what the special part about this transition is. We're doing this in our physical bodies, never done before as Homo sapiens. Other people, countless entities have ascended, but not the Homo sapien in its form and structure as it is now.
Yeah.
And so that's what the new and different thing about it is. And like I said, it will be fast for some, and then others it'll take what we call in our linear expression time. Go ahead,
Yeah, and I
please.
got a little download exactly now, and they
Yeah, they were
say that
coming.
you have to understand that it's not affecting only your planet; it's taking place all over.
Entire universe, yes.
Yeah, and this galaxy of ours that we call the Milky Way, I think you say in England, in US, and it's taking place. They the position of the Milky Way in the universe now is extremely high vibrational energy they're passing through. So it's affecting the whole of our galaxy,
Solar
all
system, the entire
solar
solar
system. Yeah, yeah.
yes.
It's not only taking place here, but this planet in our solar system is the only that are inhabited permanently. So we often talk about this planet, but we have to understand that it's affecting every planet in this solar system. And we are going to get notice of that also. And you can see the interest at NASA is shifting also to understand what is going on. Now they are exploring many planets here now, so they know about it.
You know,
So
NASA's started cutting their live feed now. I mean, totally. They
yeah,
used to
but
cut it
then
right after something would show up, they would cut it real quick. Now they're completely cutting their live feed where nobody can
yeah,
watch it.
Yeah, so many people who are that when is something going to happen? When is something going to happen? What's going to happen is going to be internally. What's
yeah,
going to happen is going to be
In
internally.
between that, like between
Externally,
us.
if you can't see what's going on the planet right now, you're blind. Do you know what I'm saying? These things 5 years ago weren't happening, 10 years ago weren't happening. You know, just the simple fact that Donald Trump came up and said all of those things in his, did you hear that? In his Republican National
I don't pay
Convention.
any
Well,
attention to
see, I
Donald
don't.
or Hillary.
And I purposely didn't listen to anything he said at all, not one speech. And you would see things on Facebook where people would post stuff. I refused to listen. And so that night, Eddie goes, "Oh my God, you should hear what Donald Trump is saying. He's doing the thing." I was like, "Okay, I'm going to go listen to this one." And as he started, I was like, "Whoa!" I grabbed a piece of paper and I took notes. I took notes. And when you hear what he said, you would have think, "Oh my God, is that David Wilcock talking? Is that, you
Really?
know what I'm saying?"
I'll
Yeah,
have to
yeah.
listen to
I
that.
was in shock at what he said, and I was in shock. I was like, "Oh, oh, oh, oh."
he is one of the
How could he
reason I want to
possibly?
listen to
I'm
the
surprised
news.
he's not dead. That was my first thought. I was like, "Oh my goodness." You know, I'm sure he has one heck of a security guard around him, and
Well, I think
uh,
that would be a good question to when Lars goes under in a little while to bring up that, and that would also have to do with the removal of implants, which I know, Hank, that you told me you don't have a lot of information on, so we can talk about that because I do have some information on etheric implants and how, as you raise your vibration, they're neutralized, and as you learn certain lessons, they're removed. But we'll leave that for a little bit, and that's a big way of how we're actually changing. and waking up other people, is that energetic block has to be removed.
Well, I just would like to say before we even go there, there's certain things that they tell us that we just don't focus on. You know what I mean? That we just don't focus on. Politics is one of them. You know what I'm saying? We asked about Donald Trump before, but Lars has a really strong feeling about Donald Trump. Do you know what I'm saying?
Well,
So
because if
with
you
his,
remove an implant,
no, but I'm just
the
saying in terms
controlling
of talking
part of a
about politics.
person,
I
they
already
turn.
know how he feels about Donald Trump. So I already feel whenever certain things are being said, just from doing so many sessions with him, I know there's a part of him that is actually coming forward and being a part
His
of what.
higher self is a good guy. And he's
Well,
just being, people are being controlled but through technology on the
but I
planet.
tell you, in these sessions, you can be influenced by what you feel and what you believe about a certain thing. Because I tell you, after doing so many sessions with Lars, there's so many subject matters that Lars would just flat out say da 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 da. But we've had the conversation about it afterwards, and then I'd go, okay, no wonder why you're not being able to get that. And then I'd say, okay, now I need Lars to really step back behind, way back, and I need the information to come forward. And I do this in the induction part, so when that actually happens, there's things right now that Lars is saying that he never said before, or certain things that he would say that he didn't say the way that he said it the first time. Do you understand
Okay.
what I'm
I
saying?
do, but
So,
let's not overthink this, and let's just
well, that's
trust
what I
that
do with
something
what
cool
I
is going
do.
to
So
come
I just
through.
have to put that there. I don't mean to be disrespectful or nothing. So I just,
That's cool.
okay.
Okay, so one last message about what's happening here, and then let's take a break and let's get into an induction. Does that
Awesome.
sound good?
Yes.
You
Okay.
down, Lars? Hold it. Lars, do you have anything to say about what I just said?
Yeah.
I don't want to make sure I'm not.
Yeah, I have a lot to say, but I don't
Go
think
ahead.
you
No,
want
no,
to
we have
hear.
time. We
I'm
have
just kidding.
time.
We do. That's why we're here. That's
Yeah.
why I asked you.
What I wanted to say is, um, when I go back to this, we're talking about making a session and what's coming through in the session. Of course, sometimes my mind getting involved because it's the only way that I can perceive my surroundings now.
Absolutely.
And it's the only way that I can see Donald Trump or Hillary Clinton is with my mind. Uh, but when I go into a deeper state or a higher state or whatever, I see in a different way, and I can see the agenda behind their behavings. But if I just listen to a person like Donald Trump talking on corporate media, he's one of the few that really can scare me with his message. And but I understand what's behind that, so therefore I just step back and let it happen. So
Well, in
it's
order for people to wake up, there has to be this extreme polarity to get them
yeah,
to realize that
yeah,
they have
yeah,
been programmed, and their
exactly.
beliefs have been ingrained in them, and they have to break free of that, including religion.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And we have to understand that we are born with a very good intuition, every one of us, and it's the intuition in us that connect with the truth, with the actual information. And when we feel, if someone listens to this broadcast here, some are not going to relate to it at all, and that's because they are not open in the way of perceive things. And some of them are going to think this is fascinating stuff. And that is the intuition talking with them. So if everyone try to open up the intuition channel, they are going to see things in a very different way. And I have understand in my life that the only thing that never lied to me is my intuition. People can lie, but not your intuition. So it's very important to connect to that.
Well, are the dark beings, the negative beings, the ones that volunteered to play the negative polarity, are they literally incarnating themselves into this reality for the final curtain to change things?
No, they are
Yes.
not. Yeah, in a way, but they are not manifesting with the power they had before.
Exactly.
So, yeah. So they have
But
another
with a new
agenda.
understanding, because their higher
Yeah,
self
yeah,
already
yeah,
knows.
yeah.
Their higher self has
Absolutely.
made
Exactly.
connection with its higher self, has made
Yeah,
connection
exactly.
all the way back to source, and
Yeah,
realized that all the things that they did bad, over all this time in Atlantis and before that, and blowing up in the cosmic wars was all part of a unfolding.
yeah,
And now, from what I understand, the Anunnaki, what they call the Anunnaki, which just means, and there's some confirmation from Lars, from our friends, the Anunnaki have, on a higher level, communed with their higher selves and now realize that in order to bring this whole cycle and this whole experience to an end, they
yeah,
send forth aspects of themselves to actually incarnate into the creation that they created with all of the negativity in order
yeah.
to bring it up from the base.
But
That's how I
you
understand it.
have to really keep your mind open, and you have to also realize that just because they chose that in this particular expression of themselves, in this linear expression, in another expression, they could have totally been Mother Teresa. And that's, I've done sessions where they said, hey, my nephew said, you came in with an armada and you decimated our whole entire planet.
Uh-oh.
What I'm saying. So we're
Yeah.
playing these roles. There is no separation, you guys. It's only in the third dimensional perception of our physical incarnation that we're seeing these things in this particular perspective. But once you rise above, as I said, once you rise above it, it's a whole different ball game.
Yeah.
And
And that kind of mindset are not longer allowed to manifest on the planet. They told me that you're not welcome here anymore, and that was the exactly word I got. You're not welcome. So all that negativity, all the new generation that come in without that veil we had before.
oh
Uh,
yes, tough, definitely the fresh.
yeah,
But
so they come in with a total different understanding of reality, and that's why I say we have to protect them because that also make them vulnerable.
And we're
So
not talking about the last 10 years, we're talking about the last 100 years. So
yeah,
every single entity that's here right now playing these roles have chosen to play these roles on purpose in order
yeah,
to get us. Like I said, if you don't have dark, how the heaven will you know what light is? You know what I mean? And
you
that's
need a
why
polarity.
when I say if you have uh, Alex Collier or someone saying all these different things, I love it. At first, I was like, I don't listen to Alex Collier because I'm not trying to hear what Alex Collier has to say. It just doesn't. It just doesn't resonate with me. But at the same time, there's so many people who would not even listen to any of this if had he not been saying it the way that he does. And then so now you're listening to him and you're drawn into it, and now you're thinking you're getting all this information. And then as you start to expand with this information, then all this new information. I have so many people told me I used to listen to them, but I just fell away from it. I don't care what it takes for you to get to where you're trying to go. All roads are going to lead there. And so I think it's good when you have these people who sort of fear monger or whatever, or to make you think these things that are so fantastical, and then it just draws you into it, and then you find your place where you really need to be, because we had to get your attention, you know,
If
Yeah,
so
I
I'll
can
stop right
speak for
there.
the audience, though,
Yes.
there's so many people that and are just have heard that things are going to change and they're changing, but just not quick enough for them. They're tired, they're suffering, and those of us that are empaths can feel the suffering on the planet, and this extreme polarity has really been hard. So what maybe something we can focus on in this induction is some positive and a hope and faith of information that can give us some answers and help people that may really want to feel like they want to leave. Because when you find out that you've got a fifth dimensional, seventh dimensional, 11th dimensional part of you, that when you leave here, you can go join that part and operate from there. What gives you the a reason to stay if things aren't going to unfold quick enough and you're suffering. So that's something that a message is that I would like to get into to help people stay.
yeah,
You understand?
and
One
yeah, and me also can have that feeling. Come on, let's go. I can feel that sometimes because there's so much suffering, as you say, but it has always a purpose. Nothing happened by accident. Sorry, I have to drink. It's very dry air in my room here.
one thing for sure is that This is what happens every single time when we go into a place in order to rise them. And this is what we do. We moan and we cry and we're all upset or whatever. But that energy has power. You know what I'm saying? And
It makes the change,
yes,
right?
exactly.
Yeah.
And then the thing about it is one thing that I get all the time. As soon as you get to the other side and you're like, "Arr," and you're like,
Oh,
it's a
why did I
blink.
want to leave so quick?
But no, but it's a blink though. But it's a
Uh-huh.
blink that you just went in and did that experience or what have you. And you know, we get here, we forget, and then we piss and moan. I raise my hand and we piss and
Isn't
moan
it
about,
true?
but because we're forgetting that we're immortal, that you know what I'm saying, we're really forgetting that and getting caught up in the sensation of all the stuff because you're super sensitive, because you volunteered, you when you heard that Gaia cry, and you know it used to be Tara, and you're like, oh, we're gonna go help, we're gonna go help. Please, source, let us in, let us in. We're gonna go do our thing. Well, you can handle it, but you already know. Say, okay, I'll be fine, I'll make it. And then you get here, and now we're immortal. They'll get over it. We'll get beyond it, and that's the faith right there. You
Yeah.
know, it's assured. We're gonna be fine, and a lot of us like the drama, whether we admit it or not with
You'd be
ourselves.
bored
You know,
otherwise, you'd be
exactly.
bored.
And then we go back into it. That was one of the first things, a session I did a long time ago. We get bored and we do this, and then we go through what we go through, and we're mad, and but we bring that energy along, and that's what makes things change. So
Yeah.
for all those people out there who are upset and feeling that they're at the end of their rope, I totally understand that. Been there, done that. It's going to be assured, and when you come out of it, I promise you, you're going to be like, especially the light workers, the ones that really know. Because the same people who were there with them, who went with them but said, I'm not going to take the physical body, you can do that, you're the brave one, and you come back out of it, it's going to be like 2 seconds ago.
Yeah.
And you're going to be like, wow, you did good. And you're going to look
Yeah.
back and like, oh my God, remember when I was, yes. And then you laugh, and we're going to have a beautiful time afterwards, in a sense. So,
Yeah,
There's
I
a
have
party waiting.
written some. Yeah, sorry. I have written some pieces about this struggle we have in this transition. It's on my YouTube page in a subscription way. I don't want to enforce myself, but I recommend for many to read that because it's some valid information. It's not me saying it. I just transfer the message.
I will put that
absolutely.
link at the
Yep.
bottom of this
Yeah,
video.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Perfect.
So why do you say we take a break? And
yeah.
then we come
So,
back and get into when we'll take a break because the induction is not something that other people need to listen to. It may
No,
take them under or something, but we'll take a break and we'll get
yeah,
into that induction, and then I can show our audience how what kind of things that you do, what kind of things you talk about, Hank, and I'll give you a few minutes to think about some things and to get Lars under, and we'll start recording again. Does that sound good?
very good.
sounds good.
Okay, thank you.